All right. Welcome to the inaugural edition of Carrie Connects. I am super excited to be here with my first guest, Leslie Flowers. And we have so much information that we are going to talk about today. She is an amazing guest. So many things that I've learned from her already in the short time that I've known her. You're going to get to learn more about her as she answers some of these amazing questions. So, without further ado, we are going to get started. I met Leslie from going to her podcast that she does on Mondays and Fridays. Mondays, she has a podcast at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Friday, she has a podcast Eastern Standard Time, also at 11 a.m., where she talks about mindset and concepts about thinking and growing rich, taken from the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, that's almost 100 years old. And so let's just get started. So before we begin, Miss Leslie, before we get into everything that you have accomplished, because there's so much, can you take us back to the version of you that really had no idea that any of this was possible? Who was that person?
Thank you for having me, Carrie. It's very helpful to unmute.
Yeah, I was like, oh no, I can't hear.
I know. Oh no. So, well, when I think back, there really was nothing that I thought I couldn't do, even as a child. And I got in a lot of trouble, right? Because I did things, right? That's really my nature. All the things that have been important to me, I always thought I could do. I didn't know how, but I was compelled in whatever it was and driven to go there. And so I'm really kind of a Pollyanna in a way and step out on faith. And I very often, instead of, to plan and then execute, sometimes I start executing without a plan, right? Ready, aim, fire. Sometimes it's aim, fire, and then get ready. Sometimes it's fire without any ready or aim. But I've learned that when I look back at maybe that was a mistake or I got in trouble for it, there was always a lesson, but it took a while. So that's what I've really learned, is even those times when it didn't work out the way I wanted it to work out, I could reflect as I got older and see that there were lessons there. And that's made a big difference in my fearlessness to move toward what it is I want, whatever that is.
I love that. Now, you use the language, the word Pollyanna. Can you share with our audience, what does that mean?
Really trusting. I mean, I get burned a lot. I'm very truthful. I cannot, if you tell me the tiniest lie, I may never forget it. Right?
Yes.
But I also get in trouble. I have to be really careful when I say something to be diplomatic. I'm getting better at that. But I want it to land what I have to say objectively.
Okay, I appreciate that clarification. And there's similar ways. I'm very trusting as well. So I think we have that in common. So there's always this moment, that kind of changes everything. Not necessarily the moment where we feel like we are successful, but there's usually this moment right before it when you weren't sure that you were actually going to make it. So you talked about how you always felt that you could do anything. But was there any moments of doubt? Can you take us to that place?
Yeah, I'm really, really trying to think about, what is that? Even in the moment when I knew I wanted to teach this work and I was, told that it was going to be $16,000. And I had $500. but I wanted it so much. What I remember is just ignoring the money. And that's very much who I am. Like it's impossible,
Right.
right? So I'm not going to focus on it, right? Let me just compartmentalize. But what happened was because I did that, there was no fear, anxiety, or anything about getting the money. And so I put all my eggs in the dream basket, if you will, and stayed focused. And that in the moment, I got a call from my ex-husband who said, we've sold some stock and I'm sending you a check. Now, I didn't know about this. We were separated. The cost was $16,000. And he sent me a check for $20,000 4 months after I committed to do this. So I'm sure there are things. There was a trip when I was flying troops into Vietnam in the 60s, and I was gone for 10 days at a time, with 2 days in Hawaii, 2 days in the Philippines, drop the troops off in Vietnam, pick up the ones going home, head into Japan, back through Anchorage, Alaska to Travis Air Force Base. And there was the time that never leave anything in your hotel rooms. We had gotten to Hawaii. I was going out on the beach, my first time, and I put everything in the drawer in the hotel room. Next day, got up, got ready to go to the Philippines, and I was halfway to the Philippines without my passport or shop record. And that was a time where, oh my God, there's no way I can go to the Philippines. I don't have any papers. Right. So this is where I think I learned that there's something watching out for us, something or someone, because there's an 11,000-mile distance between Hawaii and the Philippines. And my stuff was in Hawaii, and I was getting ready to land in the Philippines. What was going to happen? And the pilot radioed the pilot. I guess I got into the Philippines, but I needed the information to go further. And the pilot radioed the pilot in Hawaii for the next flight. And as we traded off, the pilot gave our pilot my credentials and we were able to take off.
Wow.
So I'm telling you, almost everything that seemed like an obstacle, if I waited long enough, it was always better that way. So I don't know that I've actually answered the question, but
you have answered the question. And I love how you talked about when you ask for something and you don't worry about how it's going to happen, it meets you in that moment. And those things seem like they're almost created simultaneously, like the ask and the answer.
They are. But I didn't know that until about 10 years ago.
Okay.
So this is really insightful of you, because now I understand what manifestation is, transformation of radiant energy, exactly how thought energy is transformed into physical matter. I know what we can do and the process to make that happen on purpose, but it actually is. And what you want is completed the moment you decide you're going for it. And then as you visualize and think about it off and on a little bit each day, you imagine already having it, you raise your vibration, and that's visualization. And it's the DNA. So whenever you visualize, you get excited if it's a good thing and not so excited if it's a bad thing.
Right.
And then you begin to watch how the universe sends you people and opportunities that take you right to where you want to go. And so the amplitude of vibration of feeling great as you visualize is the velocity with which the second fully manifested iteration is moving toward you. So as long as you keep it up, you've started the process. Now, if you give up, that idea goes right back into the universe and someone else gets it. So, but the fully formed thing is already there. It transfers to somebody else when you let go. So I kind of got off on a tangent there. But
no, I love it. That's
Well,
why I wanted you to be the first guest.
well, you do. You actually, when you get an idea and you fall in love with it and you get really clear about it and you're compelled and your fears are just not, it's like the fear of money wasn't important to me because I didn't have it anyway.
Right.
So, I mean, I could have stressed about where am I going to get it? Not
Mhm.
$16,000, maybe 5,000, right? I could get it, right? Without too much trouble. But
Mhm.
16, it was out of the question, but I was going. I knew that I knew that I knew. I had perfect faith that I was going. I just
Mhm.
knew it. So, yeah.
And that's a really great space to be in when you are positive and you have that confidence and you have that universal alignment and you just know what it is that you know and nobody can talk you out of it. Did you have moments where, or moments, even if you knew that you were going, were there moments where you almost let yourself talk yourself out of that moment or
Of
that
course.
experience?
Absolutely. Because no matter how long you do this work, as you aspire to grow in conscious awareness of your true infinite potential, you never get rid of your fears. You never get rid of those old neural pathways. You're building new ones, which
Mhm.
allow you to think more positively, but it's an aspiration, it's a practice, and you do it your whole life. That's what has to happen. So it gets easier and easier, and once you understand the process.
And that makes so much sense. And I think it's important that people take the time to learn what the process is.
That's right.
That's really important. And speaking of people, we'll just say hi to Felipe. We'll say hi to William. I saw Josette is on here saying hi. We have a LinkedIn user. I saw Layla. The names are scrolling up. So if we missed you, we definitely are grateful that you all are sharing time and space with us on this Saturday with my inaugural guest, Miss Leslie Flowers. So I love that you talked about the situation where your ex-husband or you all were separated and he had enough integrity to make sure that what belonged to you you received. But I know a lot of people are going through something right now
Mm,
that they haven't told anyone about. So
mm.
what do you wish that somebody had said to you where you were in that space?
It was a very difficult space.
Hmm.
After a 30-year marriage, it was, hey, Jackie, hey, everybody. It was very difficult. And it has a lot to do with self worth. And this was not my choice,
Hmm.
right? I fought to keep our marriage together, but both people have to want to. And the simple fact is that he had moved on to do other things that I was
Hmm.
unaware of, right?
Hmm.
So it was really hard. Um, what was the question again?
I said you didn't just survive it. You have other people that may be going through something
Oh, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
they haven't shared that with anybody. And what do you wish somebody had said to you, or what would you say to others?
Believe in yourself. Go
Mhm.
with your intuition. Find someone that you can share this with, like an accountability partner, someone who will be objective and honest with you, not necessarily a family member, right? A friend, someone who knows what's going on, but who will be objective. You could have a coach. There was a time when I did have a coach. There was also a period of time when I did EMDR therapy. That
Okay.
was fun because I have a lot of childhood brutality, and I think we all do, right? We all have wounds that we've been working on healing, and but they also represent the lessons we learned. So it's about keeping your distance from reacting and reminding yourself of those fearful experiences, but to also be objective enough to evaluate the lesson, because that's the law of polarity. For every negative, there's going to be a matching positive. So even that's why you hear people say, well, reframe it. right? Well, you're reframing it to the opposite. So
Mm.
I don't believe in myself. Then you say to yourself, I do believe in myself. You use I am statements. You can put stickies around to remind yourself how great you are, right? If you think about, you can do gratitude, you know, all these things. The trick is that it has to be consistent and not a lot of time, but I've discovered that with myself and my own clients over the years, everybody wants a quick fix. And the truth
Hmm.
is, there are none. There are no quick fixes. The only way that you can clear out all your fears and have a tabula rasa day is a life changing event, an accident where you should have died, right? That kind of a thing where you were like, it was like the end for you. That
Hmm.
is when everything gets erased. And I know that Brendan Bouchard, who's quite well known in personal development, that's what happened to him. He was in an accident in another country and he woke up and his whole life changed. So, but we don't want that. So then it has to be a tedious process. Well, not necessarily tedious.
Hmm.
You make it a habit. That's what you do. You make that a habit. You make gratitude a habit. And you know these things. You just don't stop. You don't ever stop.
I love that. So make gratitude a habit, and not stopping. But I'm curious, you made the statement about families and friends as you're going through these transitions and looking for accountability partners. Why would you say friends or coworkers or coaches versus family?
Family is the worst because they know all your fears. They can light you up in a heartbeat, right? I mean, I can still get together, right, with my brother and he can piss me off faster than anybody
Oh
else.
my goodness, yes,
Right.
I understand.
So they and they need healing too,
Hmm.
right? And so that's not who you want to be looking at you objectively. They aren't the best choice. Now, if you know Lachelle Adkins, she's the only person I know where she does use her family and she's made it work somehow. But the truth is, family are typically, for me, with this last 25 years of my life, everybody's grown up, grandkids are pretty much grown, and they're not aware of what I'm doing. So it needs to be somebody who's kind of on the same path as you, like anybody in our community for personal development. If they wanted to be accountability partners with you, they would likely be a good choice, not family. In fact, in Luke, I think it's 4:1 in the New Testament, is you'll never be a prophet in your own home.
That I quote that all the time.
I don't. I'm an Old Testament girl, but I do know a lot about the New Testament.
Right. I say that all the time that you can't be a prophet in your own home. So I'm glad that you brought that up. Because that's important for people to know where to go to find someone that would make a good accountability partner, someone that would be able to say the tough things and not intentionally push your buttons because they know a lot about you. And so I really, really loved your response to that question.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you.
Hi, Jackie. Hi. Is it Torres? These names, they don't stay on the screen, you guys. So if you
Oh,
say make
look,
another
Felipe says it's easier to say no to a family member than a friend. I would agree. I mean, they love you, but they don't exactly know. In fact, I'll tell you a really quick story about that. Yes, that's absolutely true, Felipe. When I first decided years and years, oh God, 25 years ago, that I was going to open a chocolate company in the mountains of North Carolina. Don't worry
Mhm.
about why, okay? But I knew nothing about chocolate. Absolutely nothing. But my friend of mine introduced me to a chocolatier. I rented a chalet. I had no idea what I was doing. That's my nature. I was hurt because my marriage had broken up. So I was in a place of, well, I'll show you, right?
Mhm.
Before you spend all our money, I'm going to invest in this, right? Just being a petulant child about it, right? And now what I
Well,
don't
I
even, what were we talking about? Was I going
no,
to
I
share?
love that. I love that it's a natural conversation. And what we're talking about is really just how amazing you are and sharing this information with our viewers and our listeners. I see Aaron Gibson has joined us.
Hello,
PP
Erin.
Torre has joined us. You said hi to Jackie already. And so
Yeah,
I really appreciate that people have taken the time to come here and are leaving comments in the comment section,
thank you.
because it does mean a lot. It helps to build a community. And these are some of the people that may be great accountability partners. And so we'll talk about that maybe a little bit later. But
Absolutely.
what I hear is that you didn't just survive what you went through, is that you built something from it. But I'm
Mhm.
curious, what did life build in you through that process that could not have been built any other way?
Well, I just don't take no for an answer. There are probably several people in this audience who know that about me. Um, Even if I don't know how. Like, I didn't know what I was doing with the chocolate company, but it was healing for me. And I just moved forward, taking 2 steps every day. And that is the beauty. Let us say a great story going to chocolate. I know. Oh, what I was going to tell you is my kids. This was about family. Let me finish that
Yeah.
up. Okay. So we were out to McDonald's, my kids, and they were teenagers at the time. Well, yeah, no. They were out of high school. They were in college. Anyway, I told them about this chocolate company that I was starting, and my daughter said to me, and they had both done the Landmark Forum, which is a transformational weekend, right?
Okay.
Okay, so um, anyway, my daughter said to me, "Mama, what are you doing? You have no idea how to build a business or anything about chocolate." And that was the first time that I got quiet. So if you know
Mm.
me, I don't get quiet very easily. It gave me pause, and I don't think I thought anything. I was kind of shocked. And then when I got home later, she called me. She said, "Mama, I am so sorry. I feel like you did this beautiful picture on an etch-a-sketch, and I shook it.
Oh.
I'm apologizing to you," because she knew enough about transformation that she had just doused my dream,
Mm-hmm.
right? By pointing out that I couldn't do it, but she didn't really understand, right? It's like crabs in a bucket. You know, the old story, when one is almost out, the rest pull you back down. That's what happens with family. They love you, they want you to succeed, and they're afraid that you're going to leave them.
Mm-hmm.
So, best to not use family for that. Hi, Erin.
Oh,
Thank you.
love that. I love that. I love that. So going back to our previous question, and
Okay.
I
You
appreciate you
remind
sharing
me.
that. But as we go back into that, I love what Aaron said about the beautiful vulnerability. And so I always tell people to turn your mess into a message or turn your test into a testimony. And so I know that the words that you're sharing today are absolutely blessing someone. And so I really appreciate that. The question I asked before was that as you look at your marriage of 33 years and transitioning from that, and you look at who you are today, you
Mm.
didn't just survive what you went through, you actually built something. And so we can see the evidence of what was built, but I'm curious what life built in you going through that process that really could not have been built any other way.
Yes. Well, I did sit in the dark for a couple of years while I
Mm-hmm.
worked. I had marvelous pity parties for myself, right? And I did have a couple of girlfriends that are no longer friends because all I did was badmouth him.
Mm-hmm.
So I really am crawled on my belly like a reptile, like little Egypt,
Mm-hmm.
honestly. Not the nicest side of me. However, one day I woke up and I said, "All right, I've had enough of this shit."
Right.
I just one day, and I registered in the Landmark Forum again, which is a 3-day transformational event, like really deep, getting into the core issues of the pain of childhood. And then I did their advanced course that year. And then I went into their introduction leaders program. So when I got to the point where I just had it with myself, because I was dying in that marriage. The kids were gone. We were coasting. We've been friends. We grew up together. We were married for 33 years, but we were coasting. I was coasting. All the purpose that I had raising my family and making sure the kids did this and that was over. He had gone off and was doing something else, and I had nowhere to go. So when I look back, it was exactly right. And after 2 years, when I started doing the landmark work, and then it was like an explosion. I studied quantum physics and metaphysics, and I got together a wonderful group of Hare Krishnas in Greensboro, North Carolina, and I studied Krishna consciousness, and they're very aware. And so I just threw myself into everything, and still sad, but now I can tell you that the last 25 years on my own have been really living the life I love. I don't have a husband to take care of. I have enough money to live meagerly. I'm not wealthy at all. I don't have to dress if I don't want to dress. I can take a nap when I want. And so I'm not sure I would ever trade this life that I have now to be with someone else. It would be okay to have if we both had our own places, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm so grateful. And I think there are many women now who are on their own, that we were dependent on our husband's paycheck. But in the mid-70s, that all changed, and we ladies had to go to work full time to pay for these huge houses. And then the divorces began. Then we had latchkey children. Then they lost the house. And so the single mother is the poorest class in our country today. So I'm just grateful, and I know a lot of women who are also grateful to live on their own, even if it's a little tough sometimes.
Yes, I agree with you. And it sounds like
I built this woman and finally realized my worth. Finally, really, my fears were strong. My father graduated high school at 15, Cooper Union at 18, worked on Nike Zeus anti-missile. He was a genius, and I never did anything right. I never got the concepts fast enough, right? If I'd ask Daddy, how do you do this? He would lose his temper with me. So he was very impatient and very much a control freak. So it's been a lot for me to actually believe that I'm lovable, honestly.
Yeah, and you are lovable, and so many people love you. It's like looking back, what looked like a setback was actually setting you up for success. Now, what do you know about yourself now, thinking about those hard, challenging times that you went through, that the good times just would not have taught you?
Well, there were matching good times. So consider that for every one of the bad times, there is always a matching up time, right? In exhilaration. You just don't know when it's going to happen, right? So if you really look at your life, there is a matching good for every bad. And if it hasn't happened yet, keep looking for it, right? Be on the lookout. And if it has happened, then look back and say, oh my God, I had this great contract and I made $75,000 in that last quarter. And now things are crummy. But that is the law of rhythm. And so for every crummy, there's going to be a good, as long as you keep moving toward being heart-centered and being a person who is kind and serves. I was not always the kindest person. I'm very sharp-witted, and I can be mean. Not so much anymore, right? I've taught myself some diplomacy, but I've been around a long time. And so I feel really successful in the sense that I can be diplomatic. I know my stuff, and I can inspire other people to do it because I've done it. I built it out of the most miserable state I was ever in, was the dissolution of a 33-year-old marriage, right? A 33-year marriage that was the biggest devastation of my life. And it took a long time, about 15 years, to
Mm-hmm.
get back with him. And, we became friends. And of course, and we have children. And so it took years to work through everything. Just keep moving your feet, one foot in front of another. If you find someone that will listen to you, make sure it's confidential. You can do that for them also, and they have mutual confidentiality. Just find someone that you trust and talk to them. And also pray and journal, whatever it is that you love doing. I do say pick one action at a time. Start with going to church if you haven't been going to church, or
Mm-hmm.
Bible study, whatever it is. Maybe you stop walking the dogs, right? Maybe that's the thing. Thank you, Felipe. It's hard to appreciate the good time. Yes, yes, because those bad times hurt.
Mm-hmm.
They hurt. But the vibration is the antithesis when you have the good times, right? So
Yes.
even with Felipe is in a place right now where he had this just tremendous job and the way things work, but like he
Mm-hmm.
is all over. You see, someone is out there waiting for you.
Absolutely.
And you can't help them if you're busy with this other thing that you think you don't want to lose. So the truth is if you're without a position, it's actually can be better than being in a job looking for another position, because you can set the context for every interview, right? You tell yourself, these people, when they meet me, they're going to say, where have you been? We've been looking for someone just like you. And so when you walk in, your vibration is very confident. Hello, my name is Leslie Flowers. Would you like to hire me? Absolutely, Leslie.
Come
Come
on,
on.
vibration.
Or you
Right.
could be talking to yourself in the car. Oh God, I never should have sent this resume. I just am not really qualified for it. Your vibration slows down. You walk in and say, hi, I'm Leslie Flowers. Nice to meet you. Would you like to hire me? Right. And they go, no, thank you, because they pick up on that. So you can use your thoughts to boost how you're feeling. So when you walk in, you set the context for the interview.
Uh,
And it's wonderful.
I absolutely love that. Love that. Love that. Love that. And we had some more guests to come in. The words are so tiny, I can't see who it is on the screen. So I'm going to try and go here. Lauren,
Oh, hi.
um, Lachelle joined us. Camille Houston joined us. So we're saying hello to everybody. And I have one more question
Yes, ma'am.
before we wrap up. We really started this conversation with who you were before all of this. So I want to end with who you have become. I know that could be another 30 minutes, but I want to end with who you have become because of it. If everything that you survived and everything that you built and everything that life built in you was preparing you for a moment to speak to someone who is right where you used to be, what would you say to them right now?
I would say have faith, move without knowing how, but take baby steps. Um, you're not supposed to know how it ends up. That is where faith comes in. Take the steps you know and keep moving. They say that you could climb Mount Everest taking baby steps, but you have to take the first two and get on the mountain. At that point, you'll notice that where to put your hands and feet next comes to you naturally. That is our universe, loving and watching out for us. You have an energetic universe, even though we do not understand how it works exactly quite yet. The evidence, and some scientific evidence, but our empirical evidence proves that the universe and God is omnipresent.
Mm,
It is love, and it never depletes. There's always love. And the universe is your intuition and will not steer you wrong. The universe or God will not steer you wrong because you're not at the same level in this in awareness that our universe is. So there's nothing personal other than love and kindness. And that's who your partner is. So if you're in a place where you're feeling kind of down, you can come to my shows. Keep your mind busy with these kinds of ideas. This is developing conscious awareness. And we all have mental muscles: perspective, imagination, intuition, memory, reason, and will or focus. They're great when you practice them, and they'll protect you from going down the wrong path. But if you don't practice them, they're like a muscle that's atrophied and they will not help you. But for me, those mental muscles is what we're doing right here. This is our exercise for Saturday afternoon.
I love that. And we can transition from the exercise that we are doing on Saturday afternoon, and we can talk about how money matters or mindset matters on Sunday. That's more self development. And then we come to your show on Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time and continue with your master teachers learning about how universal alignment and the different things that you talk about on your Monday shows, which are so amazing. All of these shows are live on LinkedIn. And so I want to encourage the audience to reach out to the people who are in the comments. Make sure that you all connect with them. Make sure that you all subscribe, follow Leslie on LinkedIn, find her on YouTube and subscribe to that page as well. Personally, I wish we had more time. And now I'm second guessing my decision to have a 30-minute show because we're already at 36 minutes. So I appreciate you all still being here. This has been the inaugural episode of Carrie Connects. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for being here. Miss Leslie, you have been amazing, 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 amazing. And I look forward to having more conversations with you.
Me too. Me too. And make it 45 minutes. I think you can fill the time beautifully moving forward. Absolutely.
And I will take that advice. So our next episode will be next Saturday, and it will be about 45 minutes. We'll see you all next Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you,
All right.
everyone, for being here.
Thank you. Bye-bye.